Blessings, 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 people. And it is Real Talk podcast again with
Ruinz Ason
and myself, Jflames. And it's a sad day because we are at the end of the season. It's a sad day, but it's a beautiful day because I need a break. And Ruinz Ason needs a vacation. And even though we enjoy doing this podcast, we are humans as well, and every now and then we need a break from being woke. Yeah, exclamation marks. I need to go to some country somewhere and turn the fuck up. That's what I need to do.
But we can't go to any countries because they're all quarantined, bro.
Oh, bruv.
You know what I mean? We was trying to go Turkey, we was trying to go Dubai. Everywhere's locked off, bro. Yeah,
this is life, boy.
Bro, I just come back from Germany, so we can always go back.
Yeah, boy, well, yeah, yeah. But I need a beach, man. Has Germany got a beach?
Yeah, they got a beach towards the north.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I've actually been there. I went there last year. Yeah.
So there was sand
it's like
there,
it's like a little island towards the north.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, I might have to look into that still. But yes, this is Real Talk podcast, and today is the conclusion episode to the last 9, right? And today we are talking about forgiving your parents.
Deep,
man.
It always comes back down to that one thing: is your childhood, your relationship with your parents, and whether you can or have forgiven them. So like it's good that we've come that full circle and everything we've spoken about in this season, and we're ending it with talking about parents and childhood, and you know, because everything you've gone through in life stems from those formative years of when you was a child, and your relationships with your parents or relationships you didn't have with them. Yeah, it all affects us. So it's like it always goes back to that, like going back to the roots, back to the basics. Always.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Back to the roots. Yeah, full circle, man. And it's just it is it's such when people probably read this outline on YouTube or Instagram, they're probably gonna think, forgiving your parents. What do you mean by forgiving your parents? Forgiving your parents can mean so many different things. You can be forgiving your parents for the most smallest things. Maybe just you might have felt like you could have done a better job if you was to raise yourself. Do you know what I'm saying? But then there comes a point where you need to forgive because you can't keep holding on to.
You can't move past nothing. You can't achieve that inner peace that is so tantamount to like growing and becoming the person you want to become. You can't achieve that inner peace unless you've forgiven yourself. But it really does start in forgiving your parents. And I feel like, you know, a lot of people, when you say to them, have you forgiven your parents? A lot of people will be like, they'll either say, of course I have, or they will say, there's nothing to forgive. And a lot of people will, because there's a certain guilt that we all feel when it comes to our parents, because no matter whether you had like really traumatic and really tough, difficult upbringing, the fact of the matter is, whether your parents did a good job or not such a good job, they did the best that they could do with what they had. Yeah. And so when I talk about forgiving, it's not necessarily about, okay, you know, if you've got like a toxic relationship with both or either one of your parents, still allowing them to control you, still allowing them to affect your life. I'm not saying that's what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is understanding the limitedness of your parents. Yeah. Because when we grow up, when we're young, we feel like our parents know everything. We feel like they're untouchable.
They're super people.
Yeah, they're gods, you know. And then you know, we kind of give our whole lives to them because, you know, we're learning about the world. So we view our parents and put them on a pedestal. And throughout life, namely teenage years, we start to rebel against that because we start to see that there's a world outside of the world that our parents told us. And that's where that friction grows, you know. And it's the kind of thing that, you know, even when you leave your home, your parents live in your head. You know what I mean? So your parents leave home with you.
Yeah.
And they rent a couple rooms in your head.
In your
and you
head.
take, especially the things that you were sort of told wasn't acceptable.
Yeah, you hear your mom's voice in your head.
Yeah,
man.
and
you're about to go and do something you shouldn't be doing. You hear your mom's voice saying that.
Yeah, or your dad's voice, or however you was growing up, and that's why a lot of people, they're still in adult years still fighting with a lot of inner conflict inside that they don't realize it's the inner parents they have.
Yes.
Even like us, sometimes, obviously our mom's not physically here, but even like conversations we had with our dad, like there were certain things I just wanted to ask him to see if his, if his viewpoint, his perspective was exactly the same
as it was back in the day.
Yeah, and sometimes, and he kind of surprised me with some of his questions. But of course, man, listen, people change, people grow, and the world changes. But the inner parents, the inner voice you have in your mind is, it could be something you was told when you were 7 years old.
But the crazy thing is that thing that you was told when you were 7 years old, no longer applies to your parent. But they don't come back and tell you when you're 30 that, what I told you when you were 7, disregard that. That's not truth.
And then that's where the forgiveness comes in.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people haven't made the dissociation between their inner parents, the parents in their head, and their real parents. So when you're dealing with that conflict, a lot of the fire and a lot of the anger that you feel towards your parents is not actually towards them.
Yeah,
it's towards the shame and the guilt and the non-acceptance that you still carry inside of your own self, your inner parents. And that's why I feel like nobody can achieve anything great within their self-development in their life if they don't forgive their actual parents.
Yeah, man.
Do you understand? Because only then can you start to disassemble the judgment that goes on in your mind that you associate with your parents.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like, kind of related to this subject is mad because I was watching Will Smith today, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and his mum came to visit him on the show, and I remember I said to you, I was like, I've always had a flaky feeling about Will's mum. Like, I never connected with her, and you turned around and said to me, that's because she sent her son off to Bel-Air, bro.
Yeah, she gave her son away.
And I remember, you know what? When you said that, even though we was having a little laugh at that, bro. That I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about that for hours, bro. Because I was like, you know what? That's amazing that I saw that episode before we filmed this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, man. Like going back to what you were saying about us thinking that believing when we're kids our parents are superheroes and they can't do anything wrong. And it's like, you know what, sometimes parents, they got to give you away because they're like, listen, I can't raise you to the best that I would like you to be raised, so I'm gonna send you to Bel-Air.
Especially as a single mother, because it's very hard for single mothers to, I truly believe that a woman can't raise a man to be a man.
Facts.
She can raise a boy in her idea of what she views a man to be, or doesn't view a man to be. But only a man can raise a man.
Facts.
And we come from single parents household. We actually, for a lot of our childhood, was single parent with our mum, but then the end of it was single parent with our dad.
Yeah.
So we've actually had single parents on both sides, which is actually quite unique.
Yeah, that's very unique.
But as single mothers, they have it hard because, they're still dealing with the pain and the anger and the resentment, and sometimes it's not always like that, but in a lot of our situations, the kids, we get the brunt of the pain and the bullshit from the problems that the parents have. So if you grew up in a single parent household, you love your mum and that, but if you're real with yourself, our mums weren't easy on us because they had to try to play the mum role and the dad
And the
role.
dad role, yeah.
But they couldn't play the dad role.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're not a dad.
They're not dads. Yeah.
You know, and you know, what are you told when you're young? Look after your mum, be the man of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm 12 years old. I don't know how to be the man of the house. So you start to get these ideas of what it means to be a man, and we get these ideas from material.
Yeah.
You know, songs, rappers, movies, and just, you know, men in the neighborhood. We get the ideas by watching other men of what it means to be a man, and sometimes what it means to be a man. And sometimes those role models that we have is not positive.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the times they ain't.
And it kind of just, it kind of just culminates in a lot of anger, you know, that's pent up inside to why did our parents split up? And if my dad is so bad, then why did my mum get with him? And you know, you start to feel like, especially like having parents that broke up when you was young.
Yeah.
A lot of children feel like it's their fault.
Mm.
And you kind of take that with you for the rest of your life. You
I
know?
feel like most children feel like it's their fault, to be honest with you. I think because, I don't know, like, well, from our experience, we never really seen our mum and our dad like argue when they used to live together.
I remember one time. I remember my mum and dad arguing one time.
But like more time, I always remembered when they was upset. It was normally
over money.
Yeah, money. Or it was just normally over like something we've done in the house. We've paid, written on the walls or something like that. So because of that whole thing of we're used to them being upset because we've drawn on the walls or we've done something crazy, right? When they're saying that they're gonna split up, as a kid, you automatically think it's something I've done because I've only ever seen them upset with me. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they're good at hiding that from us when they're upset with each other.
You know, I always, you know, I'll talk for myself. I'll be honest with you. I don't ever remember feeling that. I always remember feeling like it's my dad's fault.
Okay. Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Because of just what I saw. I always saw my mum getting onto my dad about things, onto him about this, onto him about this. So when they broke up, I was like, well, it must have had to be something he did. And the type of children we were anyway, we would like listen behind a door and stuff like that. So we kind of knew what was happening and what was going on from a young age. We was aware of what was happening. And it's like, like if, you know, the thing about like me is, and us, is that we've unpacked a lot of this stuff because we've made like the conscious decision to learn to forgive our parents, you know. But for a lot of people, you know, that's why a lot of people have to go into psychotherapy and pay £100 a session, you know, to talk about this stuff. A lot of people have repressed what went on in their childhood, not just what went on between them and their parents, but went on between the parents together and the breakup. Because a lot of parents don't discuss breakups with their kids. Obviously, you won't really discuss that. So it's a lot of thing where a lot of people haven't really unpacked it. And it's kind of like it festers inside, and you go in and you take that into your relationships, right? And you just repeat these same patterns. So if your dad was never there, like, you know, emotionally, as a woman, you might go and find a man that's never there emotionally. Or as a man that, you know, his mother was quite demanding and was quite, you know, judgmental and kind of non-accepting of anything that isn't perfect or isn't her view of this. As a man, you may grow up in your later life to go and have relationships with women that are non-accepting of your weaknesses. You understand? You see how these things play against each other, and they all go back to your childhood and your parents, and that's why forgiveness is everything, you know.
Forgiveness is definitely key. I mean, like, what do you what do you think the 8-year-old you, the 9-year-old you would have said, or how you would have felt if our parents, our mum and our dad, sat you down and said, right, boom, this is the reason why we're breaking up. Like, how do you feel looking back at it now? You would have dealt with that. Yeah.
Like I said, we always knew the reason because we listened to adults speak.
Yeah.
Because adults always used to tell us, big people are speaking, go away. You know what I mean? So being a curious as we were, I'd be like, okay, so what do big people speak about? So we always listen to big people talk. So we always knew the reason, and we always kind of knew it was more because of my dad. Like, do you understand? Like infidelity and them things there. So if they had sat us down and spoken about it, that would have been really interesting, because obviously I would have been asking questions to my dad.
Yeah.
About what is this? And then if they're not agreeing on the reason they're breaking up, then of course you're not going to sit down and talk to your kids, because you've got two completely different reasons.
One person thinks it's that, the other thinks it's this.
You know, and it's like, that is hard to understand as a child. So it's like I said, these are things that you go and you take them on into your life. And I know that I've taken a lot of my mum and a lot of my dad and personalized that, and that's in a way, you know, kind of subconsciously affected a lot of my relationships. You know, with my mum just kind of being that, you know, figure that wants to teach and wants to heal and wants to like really full on, and you know, and then the parts of my dad that is just like, just relaxed, laid back, a bit disconnected, a bit like, you know. So it's like, and you know, I could be sitting here and be like, oh man, I blame them for that, but man, my forgiveness has kind of come from really truly understanding that our parents did the best that they could do at the time that they were living with their parents. That were, you know, not easy on them, to say the least, you know, and at the time, and they did the best. And you know, our parents had us when they were super young, like 21, 22 years old. So it's like, I don't negate any of their weaknesses or the things that I would have done differently, but I understand it, that as children we're meant to be the evolution of our parents. Do you understand what I'm saying?
So that what would you say to, because there's probably people that's watching this and in their mind they're like, you know what, my parents did not do the best they could have done. You know, they failed me. They did not do the best they could have done. They could have done better. Or I think a lot of people will feel like that. Because you might have a situation where their parents might have had their younger siblings outside of another relationship, and they see the way that their parents are treating the younger siblings, and they're like, bro, you never treated me like that. You treated me bad. Now, what would you say to those people who feel like, you know what, my parents didn't do the best that they could have done, because I've seen what you've done now. What would you say to that? What I
would say to is, first of all, acknowledge the fact that you're angry and you're right to be angry. And a lot of those feelings are coming from anger, because I had so much anger like towards my dad. So much anger. I thought like I was, you know, because I felt like he abandoned us. He was a failure. He didn't do the best he could do. Didn't give a shit about us. He let us suffer, and like those are feelings I really had, and I felt like,
and those feelings that we've expressed to him, you know,
and
off camera,
So those are feelings I had, right, and no one could tell me any different. So I was holding a lot of anger towards him, but it took for me to get to a certain point where understanding that this anger I'm holding on to is completely killing me. It's killing me, because that's my father. Like, you not understand that he's a half a part of me. So
you hold the anger for yourself, really.
So it was killing me inside to hold on to that anger, but then at the same time, that anger and that fire felt good, you know. And that's the thing about anger. It sometimes can feel really good when you hold on to that anger and you blame someone else and you feel like a victim, right?
Yeah.
So for me, being able to, and some people can't do this, and I understand that, and that's why something's got to be done inside. But if you can, being able to sit down with him and tell him how I felt and listen to how he saw it.
Yeah.
And for my dad to look me in my eyes and say, I failed you. For me, like, how can you hold any anger when your parent looks you in the eye and you can see their eyes and it's your eyes, and you see the pain in their eyes, and it's your pain.
Yeah, no, it's deep. It's a deep thing.
You understand what I'm saying? That was emotionally, it was an emotional roller coaster, like, because of all this anger I had towards somebody that was going through pain themselves. And after that, it was, you know, periods of sitting with my dad and just listening to his story. Like, as crazy as it sounds or not, because we're hard on our parents and we can come across as judgmental, they may not feel comfortable enough to tell us how it is without us jumping down their throat, you know?
Yeah, because they might say something like, back in the day, you know, we used to roll with our gang, and you mean, who is it? I remember when you used to be on my case.
Exactly. So, but that's the part of the forgiveness of allowing, and as mad as it sounds, but allowing your parent to feel comfortable enough being themselves, being vulnerable.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, instead of that parent that's always got to feel like he's apologizing to you. No. So, you know, we was lucky to still have a dad that was on this earth realm to be able to reconcile our relationship, you know what I'm saying, and forgive him, and, you know, and to speak to him and stuff. But going back to the question I asked, how do you do that if here's the thing,
if they're no longer here?
If they're no longer here,
yeah.
Okay, so let me just complete the point what I was making. If they are here, and what I did, sit down and listen and understand that, mom, dad, parents, humans, they were going through pain. They were going through their own traumas. They were shit scared. They'd never had kids before. And a lot of them were doing this thing on their own, and it was completely terrifying and debilitating to them. You understand?
Yeah.
They were completely in the wilderness. They made mistakes, but a lot of the mistakes they made because they were still going through shit with their parents.
Yeah.
This is a cycle. So sitting down for me and listening and understanding and listening to my own dad's childhood and hearing stories I've never heard before and be like, oh my days, our upbringing was amazing compared to that. So it was kind of thing of listening. So that's how it was with my dad who's still alive. But with my mum, it actually took a longer time to forgive my mum, because especially with our mothers as boys, with our mothers, like, we see our mothers struggle and suffer, man.
Yeah.
So you never wanna consciously add to that suffering, even though you do, right? And so, especially if a parent passes away and it's a mother, the guilt you feel for feeling any type of way is hard to deal with. So it took me a longer time to deal with my with forgiving my mother, and it kind of came from the seed and the idea of, and the understanding that our mom never wanted us to suffer like how she suffered. So, you know, a lot of the love that parents in general give to their children is actually fear. Think about that. It's love kind of wrapped up and disguised. It's fear kind of wrapped up and disguised as love. I'm trying to protect you. I'm trying to put you on the right path. I'm trying to make decisions that's right for you. And sometimes those decisions that our parents are making for us completely seems like it's going against exactly who we are.
Yeah.
And there's that conflict. It's like, why can't I be myself? And so there's that fight that you have. And for me, yeah, man, it took me a long time to forgive my mom, because she wasn't here, but I had to understand from her point of view, she wanted to equip us with the resilience to go through anything in this world without being completely shattered by the things that you're going to face in this life. She was making us tough. So I had to forgive her for the times where it was like, okay, well, this feels more like fear and punishment than love.
Yeah.
But it's the programming that is vital to survival right here.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, definitely with the forgiving our mum part, it was on my behalf. It was like the whole thing of our mum sending us back to this country when we was 13 years old. Well, 12 out of 12, you was 13 to live with our dad, and the fact that she never came with us and gave us the life that we had before we left. Do you know what I'm saying? She sent us to the estate, and for a long time, bruv, I just always felt like, Mum, man, you
abandoned us.
You abandoned us, man.
Even though it was our decision.
It was our decision, but you knew what you were sending us into. You knew you were sending us into a hard life, innit? You knew it, but then at the end of the day, it took me a while to have to forgive our mum for that and her not being there, which was hard. But then at the end of the day, I understood, because it made us the men we are today,
exactly.
Bruv. Going through that time, that period, living with our dad and stuff on their estate, bruv. Bruv, it straightened man out, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? Because, in all honesty, we were mummy's boys. Do you know what I'm saying? We were mummy's boys, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? Our mum mothered us, like, she mothered and fathered us, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? So, me being 12, you being 13, going to live with a single man in his mid-30s, the age me and you are now, with 2 kids. Could you imagine? Could you imagine right now, even? Yeah, hey son, you had 2 of your sons living with you.
Yeah, but come on, man, I'd be different.
You'd be different. You'd be different because of your mindset. Because of when you was 12, what you went through. Do you see what I'm saying?
I wouldn't want to put my children through that.
100%. That's it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
But even when we spoke to our dad, he said the same thing. He said he never wanted to treat us like how his dad treated him, and it goes back and it goes back and it goes back. So it's like, it comes to the point where it's like, if your sole aim is to not treat your children how your dad treated you, it means that you still have some anger.
Yeah.
And it means that you kind of haven't forgiven or understood what happened in your childhood. So it's like generational pain is carried trauma down through the generations.
Yeah.
And at some point, someone has to put their hand up and say, yo, I'm going to stop this.
At some point, bro.
That's why, like, it for me is a big thing, like, to get to this point in my life before I have any children. Because I don't want to, listen, I'm not saying that, that there ain't going to be some things that you kind of mess up your kids. Yeah, and everyone messes up their kids, yeah. But there's certain things that you can put a stop to that generational karma, man. There's certain things, and I just kind of wanted to put an end to not being able to communicate properly from father to son.
Yeah.
And being vulnerable. And I was lucky enough that in my 30s, I was able to sit down with my dad and have that heart to heart and that connection. Man. And because we had forgiven him before, but just to listen to him, like, and I hardly spoke. I just want to listen.
Yeah.
And I learned so much about myself, and I learned so much about just life and humanity, and the type of father I want to be by listening to my own dad. And that doesn't mean that that you still don't have these little annoyances, because that's part of life. Your parents are always going to annoy you.
Yeah. It's true.
So don't ever think that's going to change.
They're always going to see you as kids.
Well, yeah. Well, this is the thing, like, the relationship, like, if I'm honest, me and my dad have never had a father-son relationship.
Yeah.
I would say you and him more have that.
Yeah.
Me and my dad more was like, it's like brethren, like, yo, go on. Like, we've never had that father-son relationship. And when I was younger, that was something I craved. I won't lie, like, You know, I wanted to have that with my dad, like that father-son thing, but hey, man, like that's this is life.
It's the cards he was dealt, innit?
It's the cards I was dealt, and it's
Yeah.
like I'm appreciative of the relationship I have with my dad, like whether it's not always a great one or one that is the ideal one,
Yeah.
but just the fact that I can pick up my phone and just call him now and just be like, yo, what's going on, and we have a little conversation. Like that is, to some people would give a limb, they would give an arm
Yeah.
to be able to do that with their father, you know.
Yep.
So I just, you just take what you got in life and you just
Exactly.
make the best out of it.
And with that being said, the greatest father of all time, Philip Banks, boom.
Oh shit.
You get me? This brother was a role model when man was growing up, fam.
Yeah.
I swear down. Even though he's a fictional character, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My lord, the lessons that man learned by watching The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and watching this guy, bruv. James Avery, bruv. Yeah.
He's a real man,
Real
because
man,
he could
bro.
get vulnerable.
Rest in peace.
Real
man.
men can get vulnerable with confidence.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. It's real. It's real. Damn, let's speak. You know what? Let's speak on that. Let's speak on that. Real men can get vulnerable with confidence. I mean, bruv, you see, vulnerability, yeah, is probably the most confident thing that you can show, especially as a man, because men, we have this image of we're meant to be these macho beast. You know what I'm saying? We don't feel no
nothing.
pain. We don't feel no pain.
Viking.
Yeah, bruv, no emotions. And it's so easy to just slip into that character. It's so easy to slip into that character and be a stone-faced killer, blood. It's the easiest thing to do.
It's the easiest, yeah.
But can you sit down on a table full of people and tell someone, the whole table, how you really feel?
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
If the answer is no, yeah, then you don't know what true strength is.
And then you need to go back and you need to look at your relationship with your parents.
Yes. Because you probably watched your dad be the big shot,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Big Bollocks, all your life, and you
Yeah.
you looked at this as the first man you've ever met, and you're like, that's how you be a man.
You know.
You walk into the room and the women go, oh,
Yeah. Or if
bring
you
him food.
came from a household where your dad or your parents, but I'll just say dad for this one, your father was an alcoholic or an addict, then that pain and that rejection within yourself is gonna be exasperated.
Yeah. Yep.
Because of what you witnessed with the alcoholism or the drug addiction with your own father. So it's
Yeah.
like the forgiving of your parent in that aspect would go hand in hand with the forgiving of yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, and like we spoke about in the last podcast, moving away from that I'm a victim to I'm a conqueror.
Yes.
And being able to conquer yourself and then to integrate with yourself is the whole purpose of forgiveness.
Yeah, man.
So you can rediscover your own power. And, you know, a lot of people in childhood, the one emotion a lot of people felt was helplessness.
Yeah.
Not being able to affect the world around you, not being able to, if you've seen one of your or both of your parents in pain, not being able to, you know, take that pain away. It's so much
Or
pressure
feeling like
on the head of a child.
Feeling like they just don't understand you, like they just
So you become people pleasers.
yeah. It's just my bit. They just don't. My mom just don't understand me, or my dad just don't understand me, and you know who understood you? Grandma.
Yeah, but
Big up all the grandmas out there.
but you know that feeling of they don't understand me.
Yeah.
So what do? You become a people pleaser. So you start to act in a way where they do understand.
Yes.
So then again, you're going against yourself.
Ah, yeah. You
There's
take that into
conflict,
life.
that fragmentation.
You take that into the playground. You take that into the workplace.
Ego builds.
Yeah, man.
Personality
yeah,
builds.
Yeah. You start to just.
That-
Yeah, mate.
That feeling of being pushed away by your parents is enough to shatter your heart into
Yeah.
a million pieces. So
It
most
is.
of us are damaged children, adult children, with our heart in so many pieces because
Baby
of that
men.
rejection. Hey man, it is what it is. But because of that rejection,
Yeah.
it's deep, and it's like
It's deep, man.
Yeah, the forgiveness, man, part of it is this. It is the key to everything, because when you forgive your parents, then the last person to forgive is yourself.
Yeah.
And then when you forgive yourself, you naturally forgive life, you know? And then you can elevate to a position of really being able to affect change, or the change that you want for yourself. But you gotta want it.
Yeah, man.
I was having a conversation today with my friend, and she was talking about, listen, some people are born with the drive to better themselves. And I was saying, no, that's a myth. You're not born with, some people are not more driven than others.
No, I don't think you can.
It's just because some people want it more.
Yeah.
Anything you want in this life, you're gonna have it if you want it enough. And some people, they just give up, right? But if you really want anything, if you want to be a better person, if you want to forgive, if you want to do anything, you can do it. You just gotta want it enough.
Yeah.
You know.
Sometimes you gotta see it as well. I've always been one of those type of people, like, if I want something, right, I gotta physically see it. You know what I'm saying? I gotta sit in it. If it's a new car, or if it's something, I gotta sit in it. I gotta be like, right.
What, before you want it? So when you sit in it, that's when you realize you want it.
Yeah.
But when you get it, you could stop wanting it tomorrow.
That's very
But
true.
you gotta want it enough. So when you sit in it, it's like, I want this.
I want this. And sometimes you get it. It's not what you think. It's not what you actually want. Innit?
Yeah, but the true.
Yeah.
But the power of all manifestation and the power of achieving anything you want to achieve is wanting it enough.
Yes. Yeah.
If you're struggling to forgive your parents, then at some level deep inside of you, you don't want it enough. If you're struggling to get that job you want, or to live the life you want, and it feels like it's taken a long time and you give up, there was a certain point where when you gave up, you stopped wanting it.
Yeah.
And you started wanting something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
To achieve anything, and especially something painful like forgiveness, because it's painful to go back into that child you that felt powerless, that felt rejected, that felt lonely and misunderstood. It's very painful, and so many people avoid that. But you've got to want what comes from doing that enough to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like there's masses and masses and masses of people that wake up every day that want that much. you know?
Yeah.
But some of us want that. I want that.
Me too, man.
Because I don't want to pass on this generational trauma to my children.
No. If that's what you wanted, you would have 5 kids by now, bro.
Exactly.
With multiple baby mothers.
Exactly.
Yeah, man.
And that's very easy to do. It's actually the easiest thing to do. To do what we're doing right now in working on ourselves, is because there's a life that we've already chosen, and we want it.
Yeah.
So we're willing to do whatever it takes, for how long as ever it takes. Sometimes, falling off, repeating patterns, repeating the same lessons, taking 10 steps backwards, 1 step forward. But you must never let go of the wanting.
Yeah, man. You gotta stay focused, bro.
That's
why I love that. It's a cartoon film, but I love that film so much. Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
You watch that film, man?
I love that.
I love all of them, bro. It's a deep film still.
So let me ask you a question.
That. Yeah.
What do you want for you? What's the if there's like a hierarchy of what you want the most for yourself?
Yeah.
The best version of yourself. What most do you want for your life?
Not to worry anymore, bro.
Yeah.
I don't want to worry no more.
Contentness.
More, yeah.
Comfortability.
Man. Yeah.
Safety.
Yeah, man.
Security.
That all falls under the worry umbrella.
Yeah.
I don't want to worry no more. I don't like worrying. Like, I'm a worrier, but I don't like to worry, blood. Do you know what I'm saying?
Why do you worry?
I don't know. It's just little things, man. Some things just pop up, and you just worry over things that don't even exist.
Why do you think it is that you worry?
What I think it is, I worry, man. It's based on it's based on looking at things, right? And you're like, right, I want to obtain that, and I don't have it right now. So you start worrying whether you're ever gonna obtain that, and it's like you're worrying about something that doesn't even exist. I catch myself doing that quite a bit.
And you know where that came from?
Yeah,
Childhood.
100%.
So
100%.
You see in practice,
Yeah, man, it's the
why
full circle.
what we're talking about is important. That and being your brother and having the same mother as you.
Yeah.
I can say as a fact that worry that you still experience today came from our mum, especially, and our dad telling us that you can be anything you want to be in this life, that you are a king, that you are powerful. And now these are good things.
Yes.
But that expectation that sits on your chest, that
Yeah.
when it's not going or it's not looking like it's going in
to
that
plan.
way,
Yeah.
that those inner parents, like I spoke about in the beginning, come in your head and start telling you ain't shit, you're not doing well, you're a failure, give up, you're never gonna make this happen.
Yeah. And you normally that stuff normally comes to your head like when you're watching what other people are doing. It never really comes into your head when you're not scrolling through your Instagram. You're not scrolling through your Instagram feed. It always comes into your head when you're under the illusion of what other people are showing you, that the life that they're living. And I say illusion because I tell you what, man, we've all painted an illusion online, bro. I swear that's a subject for season 2. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. Dealing with forgiving your parents, bro.
Forgiveness.
It's a
forgiveness is everything, man.
It really is.
It's like, it's such an underrated. What's forgiveness? Is it an emotion? No, forgiveness ain't an emotion, but it's such an underrated thing to do. You know, it's such an underrated position to take. But it is the beginning. It is love, isn't it?
It is.
And it's like, I think people mistake forgiveness for dropping your boundaries and just kind of forgetting everything and just kind of justifying what was done to you. But it really isn't. It's about unlocking yourself and freeing yourself from the suffering of something that happened in your past. So it's like, we're still suffering in the present, things that happened that we don't even remember. or it was so long ago, or it was last week. We're still suffering in the present because we have an attachment to that pain. But when you forgive and you have a wider understanding of pain is infectious and people are hurt by people that are hurt, when you start to understand that and you grow such a deep level of compassion and love.
You know, I used to think forgiving people was a weakness until I
think
realized
a lot of
that
people do, you know.
And then I realized that forgiving is actually nothing to do with the other person. It's all to do with you.
And it's not even a weakness, it's a strength. Because to forgive people is a very strong thing to do. It's difficult.
And it's all to do with you. It's nothing to do. If I'm going to forgive somebody, I'm doing it for me. I need to do it for me because the energy and the anger I'm holding towards them is not good for me. But I always saw it as a thing of, when I'm forgiving someone, I'm doing it for them. That's why I used to see it as a weakness. I feel
like a lot of people feel like that because they feel like forgiveness is justifying that person's behavior and letting them feel like, you know what, I've forgiven you, you can do this again to me. But it's not. Like I said, it's about freeing yourself from the suffering of something that happened to you. It's about freeing yourself, understanding, not justifying behavior, but understanding that this person done this behavior out of pain.
Yeah. Facts.
So they done it out of pain and inflicted pain to you. You're suffering, so then you're giving that same pain to others. It's like we're just passing on pain. It's like,
man.
You know, and it's if there's anything I want to make clear, like, it's just, when I say forgiveness, I basically mean about freeing yourself from being imprisoned by these feelings that, let's be honest, man, it's fucking up the world, bruv.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the core of most humanity's pain is what they experienced in childhood. Like every single person you can meet that has any sort of problem, you can always go back to how they were raised, or what they experienced in their childhood, or what their parents were like, or when they went into school they were bullied. Or
I always remember when we first started school, our mum and our dad said, if anyone punches you, you punch them back twice as hard, right?
Yeah.
And you see that, that got me excluded all the time. Got me kicked out of 3 different schools. And the crazy thing is, if they didn't tell us that, we could have went the total opposite way and been people that got bullied. Because I watched people in my class be bullied. Do you know what I'm saying? And when I used to try and tell them, listen, whoever hits you, you hit them back twice as hard. They'll be like, no, my parents didn't tell me that. And then I would go and beat up the bully, and then I get excluded. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's crazy.
But then you can, if on the flip side of that, you could have grown up your whole life in another way where you're just trying to defend people when you're just trying to protect yourself, but then end up in prison. Or end up, you know what I mean? And then you could be like, it was my parents that put me here. Do you get what I'm saying? So there's so many different ways, because everybody's different. There's so many different ways that it can end up, because our parents did the best they could do. They were just trying to protect us. So out of their fear, they was giving us things and showing and giving us experiences and telling us and teaching us things out of a fear of us not being able to survive in this world. And a lot of it was culturally, like, our culture doesn't do this, or our culture does this, or don't shame me, or don't shame. It was coming from a lower vibrational level of love. It was conditional love. And and I mean that in no way bad towards parents, but it's hard out here. It's a very scary thing, raising. I understand that I don't have kids, but I understand that raising kids in this world is a terrifying thing. So a lot of your actions are going to be out of that fear. And I feel like, if not for anything, that is the biggest reason to forgive your parents, that a lot of their actions was about, they were scared.
Yeah, it is. Throw up the last screen of the season, man.
Last screen of the season, man. See, now this one I have to think about, because we're talking about forgiving our parents. So I think I'm just gonna throw up the word forgiveness.
Boom.
And I feel like that ties like this whole season together.
Man.
Because we've been in a big energy of trying to forgive. Learning to forgive,
man.
Re-forgiving, just humanity, and just the parts of humanity that just isn't great, So
man. Me and Ason, man, when we started this podcast, we just wanted to start documenting these conversations that we normally have on day-to-day basis. Like everyone that knows us from around the world, around Europe and stuff like that, has ever been around us, we always have these conversations that, and we just wanted to start filming it and documenting it and putting it out into the world, and just leaving the earth something that they can go back and watch. We don't care about views, we don't care. Thank you to everyone that's been sharing it and liking and putting comments and ringing us and stuff. It's so beautiful. But we're not doing this for views. If we really wanted to do things for views, we could make videos about the trending topics and get some views, but what the hell does that mean to us? Do you know what I'm saying? We want to talk about real things, real healing. So with that being said, what have you learned about yourself since we've been doing this podcast?
I've learned that no matter what I've been through, no matter what we've been through, no matter what you've been through, we was always going to get to this stage. There were many times where I felt like we would never be the men that we knew we could be, or we were told we could be. But doing this and keeping this going on for 10 episodes, 10 weeks, man, like we didn't miss a week. You know, I flew away to Germany the other day and we filmed on a day we usually don't film, you know, just to get this done, you know.
Yeah.
And putting this out to people and just realizing just how much, you know, people saying that it's making them joyful, it's making them cry, it's making them think, it's changing them, just to just know that how much we wanted to become the men we wanted to become today, and speaking about our journey in all its vulnerability is helping other people. I feel like for me, it's just there's a certain peace and there's a certain that I feel when I feel like, wow, man, like we're successful. We have successfully become the people we want to be, and we're continuing to better ourselves. And I'm just so proud of us, of you.
Yeah, man, of you. I'm proud of you as well, man. Yeah, man, of us, man. Yeah, man. And I double everything you said, man. And that's Real Talk Podcast with
Ruinz Ason
and myself, Jflames.
Season 1.
Season 1.
We are coming back for season 2.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's gonna be bigger, better, and more real.
More real.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, in the new year, most definitely. But we'll probably do a Christmas special, innit?
Yeah,
I was thinking about that.
What, a yearly roundup?
Yeah, yearly roundup Christmas special. Yeah.
But yeah, man. Listen, man. People watching this, love and thank you.
Man. Thank you.
Yo, man. Yeah, it feels good. It feels good to be yourself.
It does. It really does. Keep being yourselves.
Love.
Real Talk Podcast. Blessed. Man, season 1 wrapped up. Real Talk Podcast.
Well done, brother.
Yes, man.
Yes.
Bless, man.
Love.
We'll be back real soon.
We'll be back.